Let's talk about Fight Club. I remember this movie coming out in 1999, same year as the original Matrix. It was actually an incredible year for cinema. Now, I wasn't allowed to see Fight Club when it was in the theaters because at the time I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies, and I wasn't yet at the point where I was disobeying my parents. So I had to wait until it came out on DVD, and yes, this is before streaming. I remember watching it for the first of many times. And oh boy, was I blown away. I mean, the visual effects, the writing, the freaking casting. Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden has to be one of the most iconic characters of a generation. Still to this day, when you ask guys what their ideal body type is, many of them will say Brad Pitt in Fight Club, or maybe Brad Pitt in Troy. Definitely Brad Pitt, until they realize what it takes to get that body type, of course, and it's a different story. My point is, Fight Club blew my teenage mind, just like it did for millions of other guys who were coming of age in the late 90s and early 2000s. And with millennial pop culture making a comeback, all things 90s are cool again. I've seen references to Fight Club popping up on the internet and social media lately. Like, I've seen teenage TikTokers with Fight Club posters in their bedrooms. It's pretty weird, and yeah, it kind of makes me feel old. And I don't really know how today's teenage boys and young men feel about Fight Club, but let me tell you, the impact on my generation was tangible. Seriously, like tiny watered-down Fight Clubs were popping up in suburban basements across America. Leather jacket sales spiked. Guys got tattoos of their favorite Fight Club platitude. There was just something about the anti-consumerism, red pill, snap out of it messaging that just really made you question your life and the things you supposedly cared about. Like, yeah, maybe I'm not my khakis. Now, I read the book too, and I know that the author, Chuck Palahniuk, might have had other interpretations or other messages behind his story. But most people interpret Fight Club as a satirical critique of consumer capitalism. In other words, they take it more or less at face value. And at face value, it's a dark story. The arc of the main character is tragic. And while he does learn some meaningful lessons along the way, the ending is not happy. So rather than blindly glamorizing Fight Club, and specifically Tyler Durden's philosophies, I want to take a look at what this movie, what this story got right, and what it got wrong. Let's look at 7 key lessons from Fight Club and see if they hold water. Number 1. Everyone should get in a fight. There's a pivotal scene in the first act of the movie where Tyler Durden asks the narrator, Edward Norton, to hit him as hard as he can.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can. What? I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Why? Well, he poses the question, how much can you know about yourself if you've never been in a fight? On the surface, this almost makes sense. It's kind of badass. But it's not true, and it's horrible advice. You should avoid fighting at all costs. Fighting is dangerous. Sometimes it's deadly. There's almost never a good reason to fight. Don't get me wrong. Fighting for sport in a controlled environment can be fun. I think lots of young boys and young men roughhouse for good reason. It's kind of in our DNA. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which involves some pretty intense sparring, and it's a blast. But training martial arts or even fighting MMA is way different than a no-holds-barred street fight. I think you can scratch that primal itch for combat in a safe way through something like jiu-jitsu or boxing. But choosing to actually fight somebody when you don't have to, or starting a fight, is insane. It's stupid. It's like driving without wearing a seatbelt. Tyler Durden was wrong about this one. You don't have to get in a fight to truly know yourself. Number 2, I don't want to die without any scars.
I don't want to die without any scars.
This is sage advice, and I actually try to live by it. I'm not reckless, but I don't shy away from things that might cause some wear and tear, like my aforementioned jiu-jitsu hobby, and it has caused a couple of tears and a bit of wear. I don't need to die from old age with a pristine body. I'm okay with some injuries, some patina, cuts, bruises, even scars. These are like nicks in a sword or creases in a leather boot. Our bodies are meant to be used and pushed. Scars are a map of our lives. They tell a story. So I agree with Durden here. You shouldn't shy away from activities just because they might be a little bit dangerous or they might cause a little bit of damage. Number 3, the things you own end up owning you. Do you remember that early scene in Fight Club where the narrator is describing his apartment and all of the things in it, and it sort of feels like you're inside of a West Elm catalog? Then his apartment blows up and all of his stuff is destroyed. And according to Tyler Durden, this is a good thing because the things you own end up owning you.
The things you own end up owning you.
There's some truth to this, but in the movie, it's taken to an extreme. We need things. It's okay to like the things that you own. It's okay to care about them and to want to upgrade them and to put some thought and to research into the things that you buy. The truth is, Edward Norton's character had a really nice apartment. I would love to live there. It's okay that he cared about his home's aesthetic. Now, of course, consumerism can go way too far, and it often does, and I think this is what Fight Club was addressing. But you don't need to feel bad about owning or wanting nice things. And you definitely shouldn't try to be a minimalist just because of social pressure, just because it's trendy. Minimalism is not a virtue, and it's not for everyone. It can be just as toxic as consumerism. So unless you're a hoarder, you're probably okay. Don't overthink it. Number 4, you are not khakis.
Khakis.
This is true. At the end of the day, if you did lose all of your nice things and your perfectly curated wardrobe and even your job, who would you be? Well, you'd still be you. You aren't your possessions, you're not your clothes, you're not even your job. You're valuable just because you're you, and you're here. We all use these status symbols as a sort of armor. A nice watch, a cool car, the right outfit. These things make up our identity. They contribute to our self-image and to how other people see us. And I think Tyler Durden was trying to tell us that they actually aren't that important. You know, what really matters is how we spend our time and our relationships with other people. Number 5, self-improvement is masturbation. Now self-destruction.
Self-improvement is masturbation. Now self-destruction.
This is kind of the logical conclusion of Tyler Durden's belief system. It's nihilism. Life is meaningless. Don't try to improve yourself. Don't worry about other people. There's no point to any of this. In some ways, it's an alluring philosophy, freeing even, but it's wrong. Self-improvement is not a waste of time, and self-destruction is just stupid. No matter what you believe, everybody knows that we only get one life here on Earth. It's not a dress rehearsal, and that alone makes it meaningful. Personally, I love self-improvement. I read self-help books. I listen to productivity podcasts. I believe in therapy. I believe in fitness. Why not? You know, what's the alternative? Sitting on the couch all day and playing video games and just being cynical about everything and everyone? That's a waste of life if you ask me. So yeah, go try to improve yourself. Number 6, it's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
Losing all hope is freedom. There's some truth to this. I mean, you see it in real life when people have a brush with death, and afterwards they kind of appreciate the things that really matter. They quit their job to travel or spend more time with loved ones. Fight Club shows this literally, like when the narrator's apartment explodes and he loses everything he owns. Then he loses his job, which was a big part of his identity. But the thing is, you don't actually have to literally lose everything to make use of this Buddhist-inspired wisdom. You can simply simulate loss or even just visualize it. For example, Stoic philosophers might practice poverty. They'd intentionally live with less for a set period of time. And that helps you face the fear of losing everything. Like if you went without your phone for a full week and realized that nothing bad happened, nobody died, you're still here, you'd probably be a little less attached to your phone. You can also visualize the worst case scenarios in any situation. So bombing a presentation or failing a test or getting rejected by a potential date. Picture yourself surviving these situations because you will survive them. And honestly, they're going to be way worse in your head than they are in real life. So yeah, losing everything may be freeing in some ways, but you don't have to actually lose it all to get a bit of that clarity and meaning in your life. Number 7, this is your life and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
You are the same decaying organic matter as everything else. Memento mori. This Latin phrase means, remember, you must die. It seems morbid, but I've actually found that for me, contemplating death is an energizing motivator. It can really help me snap out of a funk, because Tyler Durden was right. Life is finite. And if you picture yourself as an old man on your deathbed, at that point in life, what will really matter to you? That's the stuff that should matter now. So yeah, your life is ending 1 minute at a time. So is mine right now. I've been recording this video for 22 minutes, and now I'm 22 minutes older. I have 22 minutes less life to live. That's okay. It just makes me want to make the most of it. Wrapping up, Fight Club was a great movie. It's one of my favorites, but it was fiction, and it's kind of a dark story, and the ending was not happy. Also, it was satire. It went to extremes in order to make a point. And yeah, Tyler Durden is super cool, and yes, he has great abs. It doesn't mean that we should follow all of his advice. But I want to hear from you. I want to know how old you are, when you first saw Fight Club, and what sort of impact it had on you. Let me know down in the comments. If you like this type of video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, maybe share it. That way I'll know to make more content like this. Thank you as always for watching, and until next time, stay stylish, but don't get in a fight.